Shad has definitely been the highlight of the coast, with fish being caught from Anyoni Rocks all the way up to McNichols Beach. Where the shad are, you know the perches won't be far behind.
The offshore scene is starting to heat up down here, with the bottom fish putting on a really good show all across the usual spots. We've seen some beautiful soldiers, monster cracker, rockcod.
There you go, buddy. Hit it now!
This is the Angler News SA podcast. I'm Vanessa Green.
Hey, hello anglers, guys, welcome back to Angler News SA. Let's talk about last week in a nutshell. It was atrocious. We don't really want to talk about it. It was a nightmare. The sea was rough, the sea was furious, the sea was challenging, and it was extremely difficult to keep a line stable. However, there was an area, there was a section of KZN where it didn't matter. The sea conditions didn't matter because the anglers still delivered the fish. And that area is the South Coast. And guys, from this week, I'm glad, thrilled, honored, and privileged to introduce you to two new reporters, two anglers that I hold in really high regard as some of the best in KZN. They are well esteemed. They've got a huge reputation. You obviously know them. Guys, Angler News proudly welcomes Benny Pillay and Max Tomatis. They are our new reporters. They're going to be telling us exactly what's going on down the South Coast. They have found the fish, and not just them, it is Adam Lyon as well. Now, that is the South Coast. That's the action. That's where the sweet spot is. That's the sweet spot where we plan on being this long weekend. But what happened on the North Coast? Well, we've got our reporters to tell you exactly about that and what's going on in the Midlands when the sea conditions has been rough. Well, Jan has some great tips and advice coming up with that as well later on in the show. But for now, none of this excitement could be brought to you without the support of our sponsors, the Kingfish.
Get ready for the biggest shad fishing event of 2026. Join the Photon and Kingfisher shad fishing competition running from 14 to 31st August. With an incredible 85,000 Rand prize pool, you could win 60,000 Rand for first place, 15,000 for second, and 10,000 Rand for third. Entry is only 250 Rand, and entries are open now. Don't let someone else reel in your fortune. Rig up, bring your A game, and make every cast count. Visit kingfisher.co.za, photonsa.co.za, or any of our 8 Kingfisher branches to get your tickets today. The 2026 Photon and Kingfisher Shad Fishing Competition. Gear up, cast up, win big.
Thank you, the Kingfisher. Well, guys, that's it. It's the shad competition going on. It is the talk of the town. It is the talk of KZN. 100,000 Rand prize pool, 85,000 Rand in cash for a shad. Oh my goodness, you know we're going to be going out for that. While I'm talking about that, guys, there is a lot of shad action happening right now. Just make sure when you're out there to respect those bag and size limits. All right, so let's talk about the fishing. We had anglers fish off Durban over this past week. It has been lots of tears out there. Certain anglers really did find the fish. And, well, there were anglers that were just nothing to report on. Let's see what the reports are from Mike V and Brad Krubler.
How's it, guys? With the sea being the way it's been the last little bit, most of the oaks are all running away looking for the bronze bream. They're either running down south or running up north. Bronze bream, stone bream, cob, little rock cods, basically good scratching areas, and that's where they've been fishing mainly. The sea for the beaches hasn't been the best. But saying that, when it has settled down slightly, oaks have been getting some good numbers of shad in the Mshlanga area, coming down towards Glen Ashley, Virginia. On the Durban beachfront, there's been a couple here and there. Not too wild, but they've been getting some with the odd grey shark as well in the mix. But that's been about it for the beaches, guys. It hasn't been the best with the big sea. Massive south to north currents as well in the front. But when it has settled, the guys have done quite well. On the ski boat and paddle ski side, there's been the odd snoek around, odd kuta still doing its appearance. Apparently some guys went down south. They got a few wahoo. So that also starting to slow down a little bit on the game fish side. A lot of fish on the bottoms. Rockcod, slingers, scotties. You're looking at doggers and geelbek, all that stuff. The bottoms has been working exceptionally well. So, yeah, the guys that are going out are doing well with their bottoms. Durban Bay, lots of juvenile grunter. Piles and piles of them. In the mix there's also been some snapper salmons and some proper salmon. But also all mainly juveniles. Some of the cob are making size. Yeah, but just be careful of that to make sure that you've got the right one. Thanks, guys. This is Mike V for NSA News.
Good day, guys. Brad here from Linsky Fishing Charters. The fishing report for the last week of the Durban area. As much as I'd like to give you some lovely feedback, the conditions over the last week were actually quite atrocious. We had 3.5 to 4.5 meter swells with gale force southwesterlies blowing. So there was not much deep sea fishing done at all from our side. A couple of the information I do have is on the back line. There were a couple of cob and quite a few shad. So I'm just going to take this time, guys, at this time of year where there's a lot of fish around in your bottom fish and your winter pelagics, being garrick. The garrick that are around at the moment, remember, it's 2 per person, 750 mils. The other stuff on bottom fishing, slingers, guys, 250 for slingers, 5 per person. Your general soldiers, 300, half cob, 400, and 5 per person. Guys, yeah, just remember, we've got to fish for the future, so let's keep it steady, keep our quotas, and keep our size limits. For the guys who are fishing out there at the moment, please, there's a lot of whale activity. So especially if you are out on anchor, make sure you have enough near your anchor rope, just in case one of these beautiful creatures swims into your anchor rope and starts dragging you around. It's easier to cut your anchor rope than put yourself into danger. This is Brad for Angling News South Africa. I'm Tunt, and we will speak to you guys all next week.
Thank you, Mike and Brad. All right. So not too much fish to report on. However, that tips and advice on how to fish those conditions, that is what it's about. Not every week can be Christmas. Not every week is going to be fireworks. Of course it isn't. However, when there are weeks like this is why you stay in tune with the Angling News podcast, because there's always that tips and advice to improve our angling abilities. Now, let's head on up to the North Coast. And we are talking to Michaela Daniels. Yes, despite the conditions, it kept her behind. It got her ready with some traces, and she did deliver the fish during the week. Guys, here's a report of what's been going on up on the North Coast.
What's up, everyone? This is Michaela from Durban, reporting for Angling News. It's been a slow week for most anglers on our coast, but nevertheless, there were still some catches here and there. For Durban, there hasn't been much coming out, aside from a couple of shad between Beechwood and Mplanga Lighthouse, and of course a couple of blue rays and honey. Moving up to Ballito, it's been very quiet too, aside from some shad, while St. Lucia has had some heavy wind come through the last week, and because of that, there were only a couple of rockcods and then edibles caught from the surf. For the offshore side of things, Durban saw a few snook come out yesterday, while for the bottoms, the guys got into some lovely rockcods and reds. For the North Coast, there wasn't much action, but with the calm weather yesterday, there were a few kuta and snook caught, as well as a couple of dorado in the deep. With that being said, there hasn't been much else that's come out over the past week, but it's sure to change. So tight lines, guys, and have a great one.
Thank you, Michaela. Another good report. Well done on the fish you brought out over this past week. Absolutely rocking that blue skates and that honeycomb. Not an easy fish to catch, and you handled it like a true legend. Kudos to you on that there. Now, guys, some news out of Tugela. There was that comp that happened last week. Richard did fish it. Let's see what happened with that and what the results were. And, of course, some report. And of course, the reports of what the conditions were like out there.
Hello from Labotta's Ski Boat Club at Tugela Mouth. This week's fishing report comes in 2 parts. The Angling Addicts fishing competition and an update on my float fishing in the Tugela Mouth in trying to catch a garrick. Firstly, the surf fishing comp. Congratulations to everyone who participated. You guys are a hardy, dedicated and somewhat mad bunch for fishing in Saturday's weather, which gave us all 4 seasons in one day. Rain, hailstones, strong winds, 20 degrees, some blue sky, and yet more rain and wind. You lot, though, did better than me. I just got sandblasted on the thighs and on the shins, and that was enough for me. I headed to the nearest watering hole. Tough conditions, 5-ounce grappler didn't hold, 6-ounce sometimes washed up, switching to 7s and 8s. Those 30 or so brave souls that continued stuck it out and were rewarded with a few fish in the ends. Congratulations to Ash Moodley, whose 6.6 kg garrick earned him top spot. So thanks to Angling Addicts for bringing their annual comp to the Tugela Mouth community. Events like this promote correct behaviour of surf fishing and educate the youth so they take up this wonderful sport of ours. And now for my garrick float fishing rig update. Whilst no garrick yet, I've tweaked my rig so that the plumbed weight hold the bottom and live bait comes from the float rig on like a pasta-nuta-like extension. And still no fish yet, but there's always next week. Tight lines, guys.
Thank you, Richard. Always can depend on you with the latest news out of together. All right, guys, so now that's our report from Durban. It's our report from the North Coast. Let's see what's happening on the Midlands. Hey, when the sea water is as rough as it is, you want to try your hand on some fresh water. Yeah, it might be cold, it might be a bit windy, but you still can have a line in the water and you can still bring in some fish, as Jan is about to tell us right now.
So hey there, guys. So the be careful what you wish for came to be, and there was a good snowfall on the Berg, and the Midlands even received the most welcome soaking of around 10 mils over the last week. And if the current forecast is correct, and they might just be on a roll here, looks like there'll be another big system arriving early next week with more snowfall, and from present predictions, subject to change of course, it looks like it might even be more widespread. So guys, before that happens, and make sure that you can grab any and every opportunity to get out there and go and throw a line at whatever finned denizens catches your fancy. The barometer recovered nicely after the frontal system and has been pretty stable subsequently. And judging from the recent returns of the nub and some others, the fish are back on the feed. There have been some good fish coming to hand, up into the 15 to 17 inch or 38 to 43 centimeter bracket, and even a couple over the 50 centimeter or 20 inch mark. Flies doing the work are leeches and damsels in black, brown, and olive, and also of the egg-sucking, that is orange beadhead variety, and minnow patterns in white and natural colors. This weekend sees the finals of the Tops Corporate Challenge, which will have some 60 anglers scratching to find those elusive trout in the waters of Nottingham Road. The previous 3 qualifying legs have given us fish of 61, 60, and 59 centimeters, which are all around the 24-inch mark. So wishing all the anglers tight lines, and trust there will be some more of the same. Great news from the 5th World Ladies Fly Fishing Champs held in Norway last week, with the SA ladies taking both the team and individual gold medals. The 11th World Men's Masters Fly Fishing Champs were held concurrently also in Norway, and the team placing in the top half in 6th position. Congrats to all our international competitors for a fine showing. While the water quality issue surrounding Albert Falls Dam continues, there are reports that a few bass are coming to hand, but fishing is tough, with only a couple of fish here and there. Carp and barbel are reportedly fishing well though. Mid-Mars fishing well, with some good numbers of small bass as well as carp. Guys, do stop in the Kingfisher Maritzburg for the best in tackle advice. This is Jan Carbal reporting for Kingfisher Maritzburg and for Angler News South Africa.
Thank you, Jan. Another great detailed report. As always, I love the tips you give. Guys, once again, this is what Angler News is about. Despite difficult, challenging conditions, you know, we can always get some tips from our reporters. There's always something to talk about. And here, you're listening to SA's only fishing podcast. So, you know what? You want to hear about some guys talk about fishing. This is the spot. So thank you for being part of it. Now, guys, let's head on down to the mid-south coast. And I've got a huge announcement. This is massive. This is absolutely phenomenal. Benny Pillay and Max Tomatis, they are on board. They are our new reporters in the game. You know about Benny. He's an absolute legend. He is one of those competitive anglers. And when it comes to baits, there is no one better than Max Tomatis. So, guys, they're on board to give us the news of what's happening in the mid-south coast. I am honored and privileged to have them on board to share their knowledge and their input with us, and more so, tell us exactly what's happening just a stone throw away from Durban. Let's start it off with Benny with what's happening on the rock and surf scene in the mid-south coast.
How's it, guys? The mid-south coast has been on fire. Even the big seas couldn't stop the action. Shad has definitely been the highlight of the coast, with fish being caught from Anyoni Rocks all the way up to McNichols Beach. Where the shad are, you know the predators won't be far behind. Garrick and kingfish also been making a great showing, popping up all over the usual hotspots. There's been a good number of the held stump nose alongside a few carp coming from the river mouth. The reefs has been a little bit slower than normal, but anglers are still finding a few bronze bream and rockcod. On the not edible side of things have been a lot slower than normal due to the warm water and big seas. However, as we put in the effort, has been rewarded with some beautiful blue rays and honeycombs. Looking ahead to this weekend, it's shaping up to be a good one. The best window is looking to be from Friday afternoon right through to Sunday morning, just before the strong southerly winds hit us midday on Sunday. Whether you're chasing edibles or not yet this weekend, it looks like there will be some action for everyone to enjoy. So do not let the conditions put you off. Your next reward could be waiting on the other end of the line. Thanks, guys, and tight lines. This is Ben from Angling News, reporting for Angling News South Africa.
Hi, Vinesh. Little update from the offshore side of things down on the mid-south coast. The sardines definitely didn't hang around long this year. The run was brief and patchy. Unfortunately, the weather hasn't been exactly playing ball either. From the guys who have managed to sneak out a few days on the water, there's been some really good catches. And let's be honest, that normally is all it takes to cure that itch that we all get when we've been away from the salt for too long. The offshore scene is starting to heat up down here, with the bottom fish putting on a really good show all across the usual spots. We've seen some beautiful soldiers, mussel cracker, rockcod, and yeah, it's really great to see. The geelbek haven't really arrived in numbers yet, the ones and twos, but it's still early yet, so hopefully they're just a bit late to the party. We've also seen some beautiful red steenbras coming out the last few weeks. But just a reminder, guys, these fish are slow growing and get heavily affected by fishing pressure. With the close season coming up and their spawning cycle, please do your best to release them healthy, preferably using a bottom release rig. And remember the limits, guys, 1 per person per day and a minimum of 60 centimeters. On the game fish side of things, being a little bit tougher, with a few kuta and the arty yellowfin coming out, and then some beautiful sailfish were being around, which is really great to see. Seem to be continuing on their mode from last year, being around this time of year. The weather's been wild over the last couple of days. Big sea, lots of wind, and yeah, just messy out there. But hopefully, it looks like there's some more weather windows coming through in the next week or so into the weekend. So hopefully we can get some fishing in. Yeah, that's all from me for now. Thanks and tight lines, yeah.
Benny and Max, welcome onto Angling News SA. What a way to kick it off. Our show just keeps on getting better and better. And by having legendary names like you on board, I just know we're out for great things to deliver the news KZN needs from the experts. Guys, so they will be out every week telling us exactly what's happening on that mid-south coast. Watch out for the spot. Stay tuned. Let us know in the comments how you feel about our new reporters. I am super thrilled to have them on board. Another feather in the cap for Angler News South Africa. All right, so that's our mid-south coast report. Now, let's see what's happening on the lower south coast. Guys, this is where the action has been. It is the lower south coast. They are still delivering the fish, and Adam Lyon is going to tell us all about it.
So, Banesh, everybody's asking this question again and again and again. Are the sardines done? Is the sardine season over? Well, my answer to every single person out there is I don't actually think so yet. I don't know. Whether you're an optimist or a pessimist, you got to remember that a couple of years back, we got sards through August, September, October. So we even had some return shoals, Vinesh. So who knows at this stage? That being said, there have been a few smaller pockets sighted here and there. However, there hasn't really been much bird activity this year. So who knows what's going on there? I mean, where are the terns that we used to see in droves diving on the pockets, even when they got broken up? Now, again, some of these pockets that have been seen, not much activity on them, and they've been a bit further out to do anything with. So, yes, there are still some sardines around, and no, I don't think they've just completely vanished. I mean, that'd be almost impossible, but let's just hang in there, guys. Let's just wait. In the interim, though, however, Vinesh, since the sardines have slacked off a bit, fishing has picked up again, as we know. The guys are still getting shad down on the south coast. Now, we're not talking 100% full ball, full speed ahead. We're probably looking at around 80% speed at this stage. We are still getting Margaret Pier, still one of the favorite spots to go and target them. We've also had a couple of garrick and a bit of cob still hanging around and a few smaller kingies. The guys on the boat are still getting snoek. So lovely to see that, especially after these big seas that we've seen and this rain that we've had, the muddy sort of brown water. Sorry, the hardy dars are even agreeing with me, so I really don't know. But yeah, we've also had some bream rocking up and some rockcod still around. So yes, even the rock fishing is still around. It's still hanging there. It's still picking up slightly. So I think that just given a few more days, if the sea settles a bit, the fishing should be on fire again. Hopefully we do get some more of those sards pushing up and a bit closer for the anglers to throw into. Hopefully get a nice game fish. But otherwise, guys, I wouldn't be too down in the dumps just yet, because you know what, again, it's fishing and not catching, so we never know. We might just get these bumper sards coming through after all, just depending on the seas. Otherwise, guys, stay safe, tight lines, and let's see you all on the next one.
Guys, could there be any better way to round off the show? Adam Lyon, you absolute legend, knocking it out the park to give us some serious inspiration, for giving us that serious drive to get excited, enthusiastic, and really get out there this coming weekend. It's a long weekend. It's going to be absolutely epic. I can't wait. Guys, after last weekend's fishing, we are so eager to get onto the water. We are hungry. We are thirsty. We want to get those rods bending. And fortunately, through these Angler News reporters, we can finally do that. Oh yes, I can't wait. It is Friday. I can sniff the weekend. Let's get into it, guys. Let me know where you're fishing. Follow us on the socials. Once again, let us know what you think about our new reporters. But more than anything, get out there and get fishing.
This is the Angler News SA podcast. I'm Vanessa Green. Find more episodes at ecr.co.za under podcasts or your favorite podcast app. Let's fish for the future.